Hey, so in this video, I'm going to walk you through my exact process for how I wrote and self-published my first book called The Art of Power. And it costed me $0 upfront to do this. This is literally going to be a quick A to Z run through of what I learned, because writing a book feels like a very daunting task. You have to figure out the overarching theme, the title, all of the chapters. You got to make sure each chapter comes out great. You got to make sure the book is formatted properly. You got to make sure you got a great cover design. And then you have to figure out how to distribute it, so how to publish it. In this video, I'm going to show you how I did this with my first book, completely free, and how I'm now able to offer to people a paperback, hardcover, and Kindle ebook version of this book, The Art of Power. And it costed me $0 upfront to do this. And this is why I think you're really going to enjoy this video, because this is how to write and self-publish your first book completely free. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here's how the whole book thing started for me. I knew that I wanted to write a book at some point, but at the time, this is about 2 years ago, I wasn't sure what I wanted to create, but I knew it was going to be something related to my expertise as an independent artist and also an entrepreneur, and trying to reconcile those two things and extract out lessons. And so before I decided to turn this expertise and experiences into a book, I almost made it a masterclass, which was going to end up being a course for artists or music producers or musicians or songwriters or all of the above, independent artists in the music business, and how to navigate it. And so what you see here is the first draft of my first book, The Art of Power, before it ended up becoming what it actually became. So as you can see here, it was initially called 2024 Music Entrepreneur Masterclass, and it was at the end of 2023 that I was writing this. So I was planning to release it in 2024, and I had started with kind of these loose ideas about how succeeding in the music business is fucking hard, and it takes time, and it's hard to master your craft, it's hard to monetize your work, it's hard to be patient. And I started with a very messy process, getting my ideas out on paper in front of me using Google Docs. And you can do this in Microsoft Word, you can do this in a text file, it doesn't matter. But the idea here was to just start very broad and very abstract. I didn't have a very clear idea of what I wanted to write about, and I didn't even know, again, that it was going to be a book. I didn't know if it would be a masterclass, if it would be a free YouTube series, but I knew that I wanted to create something different from just putting music out all the time. I wanted to put something out that shared my unique experiences and the ups and downs that I've gone through navigating through the music business, navigating through working for myself as an entrepreneur, navigating through all these weird relationships that I had. And so getting all of these ideas out first is a really great start. You don't have to have a fully formed idea to start. Mark Zuckerberg talks about how the best ideas don't come out fully formed. They come out as this very messy, loose, abstract idea, and you become curious about that idea and exploring that idea and expressing that idea. And so that's what I did here. So this is just this long, messy, talking that I did on paper, and then breaking it down into these understandable sections that made sense as part of a larger body, right? So I started breaking it down into forging your foundation, barricading your business. This was the section about setting up your LLC or your S Corp, distributing your diamonds. This was all about distribution, powering up with partnerships. This was all about leveraging relationships and aligning yourself with people that are strong in areas where you're not as strong, and vice versa. The benefits of batching, doing things in bulk so that you can assembly line whatever you do in order to be more efficient. And so I had all these different kind of modules, or these different sections, or these different chapters, whatever you want to call them. They were these small, broken down ideas that all made up a larger idea. The larger idea is the title. Now the thing is, as I wrote, this process redirected me as I wrote. The path revealed itself as I engaged with it. And so this went from being a 2024 Music Entrepreneur Masterclass, which, by the way, I might still end up, reworking and releasing. I'm not sure yet, but this ended up turning into the Art of Power book. There were many steps in between, so let me show you kind of what happened after I started with this very broad, loose, messy idea. So I ended up breaking it down into chapters before I even knew that it was going to be a book, because chapters can be modules, they can be sections, they're just smaller chunks of the larger whole. And so I ended up with clarity of vision as the first chapter, because I understood that you need to know where you're headed, at least loosely, in order to pursue a path. You need some type of vision. You need to be called towards something. Something has to grab at your curiosity. And if you follow that call, the path will reveal itself. But usually you will only be able to see one step in front of you at a time. So you have to just walk the path in order for the path to reveal itself. And this is what a lot of people miss, is they try to figure out the whole path too much in advance. And they try to avoid too many failures instead of just getting started. And so clarity of vision is that process of distilling down what you're curious about so that you can take action. And so that ended up being the first chapter. I ended up realizing as I wrote the chapter that this doesn't just apply to music entrepreneurs or to artists or people in the music business. This applies to anyone that's trying to create or build something. And so that made me rethink who I was creating this for. And that made me change the idea of this book from targeting a particular type of avatar, a particular type of person, to just sharing my experiences and kind of grounding the book in principles. That way, the book could be valuable to a much broader market and the content would be evergreen, meaning it wouldn't be based on a particular music business trend or a particular cultural trend, something that was hot that would fizzle out and then my book would be irrelevant 6 months from when it came out. I wanted the book to be just as valuable today as in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so it made sense to me to create this project around ideas that are timeless. So that's something that you might want to consider as well when you're writing your book, because if you create something that is just built on a trend, you might sell a couple of copies quickly, but it's going to lose its relevancy after a short period of time, and then you're going to have to make a new book. So I started breaking this down into chapters. I started to get more clarity on exactly where I was going with the project. I started to figure out, okay, I'm going to make this a book. I'm not going to make this a masterclass. I'm not going to make this a series on YouTube. For the sake of making this project something that I can complete and present to the world, I'm going to make it my first book. And that was the mountain that I was going to climb. So once I knew that, then I started formatting things properly. What does a book need? It needs a title, it needs chapters, it needs formatting, it needs some images. So chapter 1, I threw some quotes in that were helpful to me and that illustrate the ideas that I'm discussing. And at the end of each chapter, I chose to create a small assignment for the reader so that they could contextualize the lessons in the book for their own life. So I did this in order to make the book more engaging. Okay, chapter 1 was done. I used ChatGPT to help me kind of proofread it, optimize it, and make sure that I wasn't losing track and I wasn't just making a bunch of word soup, but I was constantly distilling it down into its core idea. And then once chapter 1 was finished, then I moved on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 was about skill acquisition. So this is where I shared with the reader the metaphor of looking at your life like you're a video game character. You're the main character. What you want to do is you want to develop skills, you want to get experience points, and you want to build your avatar, your character, so that you can become the person that you envision yourself becoming. And you can accomplish the things you want to accomplish, and you can live the life that you want to live, right? So that's what this whole section was about. I'm not going to go through all of the chapters. I just want to kind of show you my thought process as I was writing the book and kind of how the path revealed itself as I took action and engaged with the process. 10 chapters later, 11 chapters later, I forget exactly how many chapters are in The Art of Power, I took all of them and I threw them into ChatGPT and I said, tell me how this can be better. Tell me if I go too far off the rails in any one place, if the formatting on one chapter is too different than the formatting on another chapter. Give me some ideas of titles that would make sense for a book like this, right? Because I still didn't know the title that I wanted for the book, because these are all kind of these loose ideas based on my own personal experiences. I didn't have something to kind of tie it all together and glue it all together. And eventually, after iterating and experimenting and having conversation with ChatGPT, we came up with the title, The Art of Power, because I thought it sounded really sexy and I thought it embodied all the topics of the book. I thought it also had a little bit of a Machiavellian, Robert Greene style feel to it. It's very philosophical and psychological. It's about self-awareness and becoming aware of where you have power and leverage in your life, whether it's with your skills, your personality traits, your relationships, your environment. And so then I came up with the subheading, which was how to identify your unique leverage in business and life. So now I had this very keyword-rich title. It appeals to a very wide audience, typically of young to middle-aged males between the ages of like 18 and 40 years old who are looking to build themselves up and navigate the world and become stronger and build something, develop their own personal power in the world. So if you're interested, The Art of Power is available on Amazon if you want to check it out. Once the book was written and I had it kind of formatted the way that made sense in my mind that a book should be formatted, then I had to figure out how I was going to publish it, right? I had to take this product and I had to figure out how to make it ready for the market. And after doing a bunch of research on YouTube for free, I learned that Amazon KDP, which stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, offers print on demand for book publishing, which basically means you don't need any money to start. You just have to format the book properly. You have to have a cover design created that is formatted properly, and you can literally release your book and they will print it as people order it. So you don't need to order 100, 1,000 copies of your book before you make it available to be sold. You just have to format it properly, make sure that it has a nice cover and that it fits Amazon KDP's criteria, and then you can upload it and they'll put it in their store and you can start sending people to your book. You can send traffic there and you can let people know that you're an author now, and Amazon will print per order. That's why it's called print on demand. So once you have the book completely written in a way that feels like it's complete, you're going to have to format it for Amazon KDP. And there's different ways you can do this. You can, find, I'm not going to dive into it on this because it's a little detail oriented, but you can go on YouTube if you're not already on YouTube, and you can look up how to format a manuscript for Amazon KDP. And you're gonna wanna probably have it 6 by 9 inches as opposed to the typical 8.5 by 11 inches, which is standard document size. So here you'll see, I don't know if this is the final draft, but it was one of the final drafts before I ended up saving it as a PDF, and that was the final manuscript for Amazon KDP. So you have the cover page, right, which has the title, subheading, and the author name. I have this copyright page to just let people know, don't fucking steal my shit. And then the table of contents. Again, this you can learn how to do all of this very easily, very quickly. Just look it up quickly on YouTube. Open a new tab, how to format a manuscript for Amazon KDP, and it'll show you how to do all this. The cover page, copyright page, table of contents, and it's very easy. And then this is the full manuscript. So you're gonna have the whole book. And if you have like a logo or branding that you want to incorporate in the footer of your book pages or something, you can. Something subtle, nice branding just to reinforce your brand. I also have a stay connected thing with a call to action so that people, when they're done reading my book, they can email me, they can follow me, subscribe on my YouTube, they can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I have a little signature thing here that I made, and that's the end of the book. And I also actually, it's not in here. So this is not actually the final draft. In the final draft, I have a page in the middle of the book that has a QR code which takes the reader to the review page for the book, which helps get reviews, because reviews are very important for helping to push your book in the Amazon algorithm so that it gets more visibility and sales. It's also a social proof thing. When you have more reviews, it's the psychology of the person looking at it feels more trust in making the purchase. So that's another thing you could do. You can kind of just tuck in a page somewhere in the middle of your book that says, hey, thanks for reading. If you're enjoying the book so far, it would really help if you left a positive review. All the reviews that I get really help the book get seen by more people and help more people. So if you could leave a quick review, that'd be great. Thank you. This is another thing. You can just go on YouTube quick and you can look up how to create an Amazon review link. You turn that into a QR code so that when they're reading the book, they can just open their phone, navigate. The QR code will take them to the page to leave the review quick, and then they can continue reading. So in the final manuscript of my books, I have that page midway through the book, and I have it again at the end. Obviously, like I said, it's not in this one because this is actually not the final draft. I think the final draft was like 10 or 11. So that's another thing you can do to get more reviews so that you can get more sales. And so again, this is how you properly format the book. And so once the book is properly formatted, now it is time to distribute on Amazon KDP. So this costs nothing up front, especially if you can create your cover design without spending any money. Now, obviously, if you want to spend, $30, $50 and hire someone to help you with the design, you can do that. For me, I am already very well versed with graphic design. I've been using Photoshop for more than 15 years. So I was comfortable and eager to create my own design. And this is the design that I came up with for The Art of Power. I wanted it to feel kind of like intellectual, symbolic, and high-end, but I also wanted it to kind of feel black and white. I used AI to help me come up with the center image. I used Leonardo.ai, and I used Photoshop to create it based on the formatting that Amazon KDP requires. And so once that was done, I had to create the back cover because I wanted to release it as a paperback and also as a hardcover. And so Amazon KDP, you can look up their paperback formatting dimensions and their hardcover formatting dimensions, and they'll actually give you a template, a file that shows the guidelines, and you can throw that into Photoshop or Canva or whatever tool you're going to use to design this, unless you hire somebody, in which case they should handle this for you. As long as they know that you're doing this for Amazon KDP, you make sure that it's formatted properly. And then once your design is finished, you can literally create an account with Amazon KDP. You click create. The first one I did was the paperback. They have Kindle ebook and hardcover as well. You put your book's title, you put its subtitle, and if you're going to have a series, if you're going to do multiple books, you can do that. Your author name, description. You can use ChatGPT to help you come up with a description of the book, right? You could take all of the text from the different chapters and you can kind of have ChatGPT just help you come up with the description for Amazon KDP. This is where AI is so helpful because it really helps use extra brain power that you don't have to use in order to optimize things and format things in a way that would take much longer otherwise. And so, you pick your publishing rights. Obviously, if you wrote the book, you own the publishing rights. And you just go through this and you use ChatGPT to help you with keywords, have it help you do research. And then you schedule the book's release, you save and continue, and you literally have a book out now. And then if you want to offer different versions of the book, and there's a couple more steps in this, I won't go through all of them, but they're very user-friendly and straightforward. And you'll be able to figure it out on your own. For the areas that you have trouble with, you can literally just look on YouTube and type in whatever the specific problem is that you're having, and it'll show you. But this is so straightforward. When you get to the paperback rights and pricing, Amazon takes a pretty decent chunk of the back end of your book, and I think it costs like $5 or $6 for them to print it. So they take I forget if it's like 20 or 30% of the royalties from the book sales, and then it also costs like $6 for the book to be printed per order. And so I set my books at like $20, and that allows me to earn about $7.50 profit per sale. And I'm happy with that because all I have to do is drive traffic. I don't have to order copies and hold inventory. I don't need to warehouse things. I don't even need to do shipping or handle customer service. Amazon handles all of it. They handle the product, manufacturing, the shipping, the fulfillment, the customer service. All you have to do is create the product. So make sure that your product is great. Spend all your time making a great product, and then you can just market it forever. You can create YouTube videos about the content. You can create Instagram reels, TikTok videos. You can repurpose videos from one platform for another and work smart in order to drive up sales for your book, right? And so that's really it. I didn't want this video to be some long drawn out thing. This is how I wrote and published my first book. When I started writing The Art of Power, it took me almost a year to finish it, because I was writing the ideas and getting them out for like a month or two over the summer, and I didn't really know where I was going with it, and I was kind of overwhelmed because I was juggling projects and work, and I was like, I don't know what the book's going to be about. So I abandoned it. I came back a few months later, worked on it a little bit more, trying to flesh out the ideas, abandoned it, went back, wrote on it a little bit more. But once I completed it and I understood all of the steps of the process because I had done it, then I created and published my second book, The Digital Garden, which is about using AI to create digital assets to build personal brand and passive income. And I was able to create and finish and self-publish that book, I think, in 2 weeks. It might have even been less, because that's the power of once you've done something once and learned how to do it, now you can just do it over and over and over again. And so that's really what I want to drive home. If there's anything in this, is to, if you do this, even though it might take you, a month, 2 months, because if you really want to get it done right and take your time with it, it might take that long. It might even take longer depending on how much time you have to devote to it each day. Whatever your timeline is, once you do it once and you understand the process and you're comfortable with it, you can do it again and again and again, and every time it'll be a little bit faster, it'll be a little bit better. And so again, my first book took me a year to complete and to get it published. The second one took me like 2 weeks because I knew how to do it. But that's how I wrote and self-published my first book for $0, and how you can do the same. So hope this video helped, And if you want to learn more about content creation or sales or business, I'm an artist as much as I am an entrepreneur. And so I know the struggle of balancing creative integrity with business efficiency and generating revenue. And so if those topics are interesting to you, hit subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a lot more content. And if you want to grab copies of either of my books, The Art of Power or The Digital Garden, they'll probably be helpful on your particular journey anyway if you're a creative person and you're looking to build your brand and offer products and make money on your own terms and have freedom. So links will be in the description. Aside from that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one.